Today's topic is actually step number 2 from my book, 7 Steps to Heal Your Thyroid. I'm going to talk about the naturopathic treatments to treat thyroid disorders. I'm going to try and make this full screen. Perfect. So just to summarize, last week we talked about step number 1, understanding how the thyroid works. We talked about hypothyroidism, Hashimoto's thyroiditis, hyperthyroidism. We talked about the thyroid lab results. I showed some examples to you. And I also talked about normal versus optimal thyroid levels. So today we're going to go to chapter 2 or step number 2, which is naturopathic treatments for thyroid disorders. So I would like to list the 6 fundamental principles of naturopathic medicine. These are the 6 timeless principles of naturopathic medicine. And principle number 1 is the healing power of nature. Basically, our bodies have an innate capacity to heal itself. So for example, if you get a little cut, on your hand, and if it's not bleeding profusely or something, even if you don't do anything to it, with days, it's just going to heal itself, right? Even though you don't apply anything, don't do anything, because our body just has a capacity to heal itself. Sometimes we just have to provide it some extra things to help. The second thing is identify and treat the cause. That's like the foundation of my practice. I always like to treat the root cause of the problem rather than chasing the symptoms and suppressing it. Principle number 3, first, do no harm. So I do like to use a natural approach in treatments, things that have very less or no side effects as possible. But being trained as a naturopathic doctor, I'm integrative, and as and when I have to prescribe medications, I do that as well. I do believe in a holistic, integrative approach to health. Principle number 4 is prevention. So I really think we can prevent a lot of chronic disease if we make some changes in our foundation, in our lifestyle, in our food, exercise, diet, etc. Principle number 5 is doctor as a teacher. As you see, I love to come and talk to all of you. So I love to educate people with my knowledge, and I'm a student for life. So I always like to learn as much as possible. I feel like I can't know enough, and I've been enrolled in this IFM, which is the Institute of Functional Medicine conference. It's the annual conference, so it's going on right now, but I took a break because I wanted to keep this commitment of doing the weekend series with you guys. And principle number 6 is treat the whole person. So for example, just in treating the thyroid, I don't want to forget that I'm seeing the whole person. So that was an example for you. So today's topics that I'm going to cover, 3 things. One is the botanical medicines and the nutrients that are needed for optimal thyroid functioning. What are the medicines I prescribe to treat hypothyroidism and Hashimoto's? And lastly, we are going to talk about the foods that help the thyroid to heal and the ones that you should incorporate. So let's begin with the first topic, which is botanical medicine. So first I'm going to talk about the herbs that help hypothyroidism or the slow thyroid. And then I'm going to talk about herbs that help hyperthyroidism. And I've seen really good success with using this. I know ashwagandha has earned a good name in the last few years. A lot of people who come to see me are already using it. I want to say that it's a great adaptogen. By adaptogen, I mean that it'll adapt to what your body needs. If your thyroid is slow functioning, it'll help to optimize it. If it's producing too much hormones, again, it'll optimize it. So it can work in both ways. I use it very successfully also to treat my patients who have adrenal fatigue. We're going to talk about other hormones in step number 5, actually. So the 5th week, I'm going to talk about all the hormones and the hormone pyramid. But ashwagandha is an herb from India, and the actual name means the smell of the horse, you know. So to me, it feels like when you take this herb, it gives you the horsepower. That's how I remember it and think about it. So it is actually a part of my thyroid balance formula as well. Going to the next one, kelp. So kelp is one of the seaweeds. You know, we find seaweed at the bottom of the ocean, and they are a very rich source of iodine. So I know iodine has been in the news with some controversy with the thyroid, but I do want to explain that the thyroid hormone is made by 4 iodine molecules when they come together. And then one of the molecules separates, and then it converts to T3, which is the active thyroid hormone. So we definitely need iodine to, you know, make the thyroid hormone. So with that said, you know, there was a time where iodine was not found in the soil in certain parts of the world. And that is the time where people were prone to goiter, or the enlargement of the neck, where the thyroid would swell because they were not getting enough iodine. And so the thyroid gland was not producing enough thyroid. So then what happened is they started using iodized salt and adding too much iodine to the diet. And that went to another extreme where people started having thyroid disorders. So it's very important how much iodine one gets in their diet. Food sources are good. I know there are seaweed snacks now that are available too. In fact, my husband got a big bag from Costco. Again, it's a part of my thyroid balance formula. I would say the maximum amount of iodine in a day should not exceed more than 200 micrograms. Remember, it's micrograms and not milligrams, because there's a huge difference. And iodine toxicity can happen because we can also accumulate that from different sources that we don't know or are aware of, like you know, certain lotions or the shampoo, conditioner. So always make sure you read the labels and try to get things that are, you know, as natural and chemical free as possible. So in chapter number 4 or step 4, I talk about ewg.org as a reference. You know, it's a website, environmental working group, and they have all the clean products listed over there. There was a patient who told me about an app that she uses to kind of scan the barcodes and find out how clean it is. And I forget the name. Is it like Think Green, or I'm not sure. So I will not, you know, say for sure what that is. But getting it from food sources like seaweed to snack on is great. Fucus. So this one is also a homeopathic medicine, and you know, my undergraduate degree is in homeopathic medicine, and I remember learning this medicine to treat overweight or obesity. So it helps the metabolism, and that's how it works, because with slow thyroid function there is slower metabolism and tendency to gain weight. So this is also a source of iodine, and that's why it helps to optimize and help the thyroid work better. And it helps people who are prone to goiters. Nettle. So you may have heard of stinging nettles, actually. And when I think about nettle, the first thing I think about is seasonal allergies, because you know, I've suggested this in my practice to my patients who have some seasonal allergies, because nettles also has a capacity to stabilize histamine reaction. It's not an antihistamine, but stabilizes histamine production by the mast cells. And that's why people get relief from allergies or seasonal allergies when they use the nettle. But today I'm talking in reference to it being a good thyroid tonic, and it helps an underactive and overactive thyroid. So this is my thyroid balance formula. And what I've done is actually, gotten the nutrients and some botanical medicine together that help the thyroid work better. So patients ask me, like, when I use this, do I stop using my medication? No. If you are on thyroid medication, I have you start this along with being on that, because the aim is to help the thyroid work better on its own. So oftentimes I've seen that patients over time have been able to reduce their dose of thyroid medication. Not all of them, but yes, there are a lot of patients who've been able to, because their thyroid begins to work well on its own. So that is the plan of using this. Also, patients who come in who are subclinical hypothyroid, which means labs are looking good and they have some symptoms of low thyroid, and the labs are normal but not optimal. Before starting them on a medication, I like to rather use this natural approach to help the thyroid work better on its own. All right, so moving on, we go to the herbs that help hyperthyroidism. Hyperthyroidism is opposite of hypothyroidism, where the thyroid is overactive and producing too much thyroid, causing opposite symptoms. Weight loss, can be hair loss, heart palpitations, jittery feeling, dizziness, etc. So there are three herbs that I really like, and one of them is bugleweed that helps as an anti-thyroid herb. So as I was sharing last week, that usually when patients are diagnosed as hyperthyroidism, there is a method of treatment that's used where they are prescribed the methimazole, which is an anti-thyroid prescription, along with the beta blocker to slow their heart rate. And whenever patients with hyperthyroidism have come to see me, I think that approach really, kind of shuts down their thyroid and puts them into hypothyroidism. But I have successfully used some natural botanical formula that I'm going to share with you to help these patients. Now, I always say that please work with your doctor. You don't want to mess with your thyroid without supervision, because we don't want to increase your heart rate or suppress the thyroid or anything like that. But this is for your education, your information, but always talk to your doctor before trying anything. So motherwort is another herb for hyperthyroidism. So it helps as a natural beta blocker. It helps to kind of slow down the heart rate. So patients who have an increased heart rate with the hyperthyroidism, they get relief from that. And this is the third one, the lemon balm also helps hyperthyroidism and Graves' disease. So Graves' disease is actually an autoimmune condition that leads to hyperthyroidism. So just like how Hashimoto's is, which is more talked about with hypothyroidism, Graves' disease is talked alongside with hyperthyroidism. So the lemon balm helps to inhibit the TSH. TSH is thyroid stimulating hormone. It's the hormone made by the pituitary gland. So by suppressing that, there is less stimulation to the thyroid gland to produce more thyroid hormones. So that's how it works. So this is the formula with the hypothyroid herbs. It's called Thyroid Calming. It's made by a company called Herb Farm, and it's available over the counter. Again, always talk to your doctor before using any natural medication or supplement. Just because it's natural doesn't always mean it's safe, because there can be interactions with what you're already using. So, well, this is just a picture for you, saying that my supplements are all natural, they don't have any artificial ingredients, and it's free from any of the other products that are allergenic, GMOs, artificial colors, etc. All right, so Here, we finished talking about the botanical medicine. Now I'm going to talk about the nutrients that help the thyroid work better. So this is actually a picture from my book, 7 Steps to Heal Your Thyroid. And it's a chart that shows all the different vitamins and minerals, antioxidants, how they help your thyroid. So it describes each one of them and what the function is. So I know you can read that at your own leisure, but I just want to point out how these important vitamin C, E, vitamin A, minerals like zinc, copper, selenium, antioxidants like glutathione, alpha-lipoic acid, amino acids, choline, carnitine, asparagine, how they help the thyroid work better. So a lot of times, just by optimizing these nutrients, we can help the thyroid to a really huge extent. So when people say, why are people getting hypothyroidism? Well, one reason is that our soils just don't have enough nutrients to give us the nutrients that we need for our body to work better. And that could create or lead to so many other diseases, One of them is hypothyroidism, because that's what we are talking about right now. But just think about that, So I do offer this test in my office, micronutrient test, which we are going to talk about. I'm going to share an example of a test result to see what one can get by doing this test. So it's a different from a standard blood test, and as we go ahead, I'll show you why. So when the report comes, it's like a 10 to 12 page report, and the first page shows like the results at a glance. Again, I've removed the patient name and everything for privacy, but in her case, it shows functional deficiencies and borderline deficiencies. So functional deficiencies, which means that these are absolute deficiencies that are present and they need to be corrected. And borderline is that something that is borderline, she's doing okay on it, but she could do better. So in her case, you see like calcium, CoQ10, copper, vitamin C, vitamin D3 are definitely deficient. And then borderline deficiencies of carnitine, cysteine, glutathione, magnesium, and zinc. Now you'll see, why her thyroid was probably not working. And honestly, she did so much better by me just correcting the deficiencies. And we worked on some other things like gut health, etc., which we will talk about in the upcoming weeks. But just correcting the deficiencies helped her to a significant extent with a lot of her symptoms. So when you test and you have functional deficiencies, the lab also provides you what supplement to take and what dose of it. But of course, I'm there to guide you with that as well. And then this page also shows like the Spectrox and Immunodex. So the Spectrox on the left side looks at the total antioxidant function, and Immunodex looks at the total immune function. So the chart basically has a gray area, yellow, and the green. And the gray area is like not a good zone to be at. And yellow is kind of okay, and green is the best. So she definitely has some work to do to get to the good levels. Ellen, I'm going to just mute you here.
Oh.
No problem. So, there. Okay. So this is the next page. Now, this is more like showing you numerically and also on these lines, like where she tests on each and every micronutrient. So it looks at the B vitamins, amino acids, other minerals, carbohydrate metabolism, meaning how she is processing her blood sugars, and her antioxidant status. So the red dots kind of clearly show the things that she is deficient in, and the black dots show the things that she's borderline deficient in. And it also gives the numerical range where she should be. This is the same information that they provide in a graphical form. Some people like to see it this way compared to the other. So they provide both ways. It's the same information. And So this is how it's done. Basically, you go for a blood draw. It's a non-fasting test. 2 tubes of blood are drawn, and they are sent to this lab where they actually, incubate and grow your white blood cells for up to 2 weeks to get like an intracellular reading. Not a serum reading that we typically get, because usually this kind of report is not possible through Sonora Quest or LabCorp or a general lab. So this is a specialized lab who can do this. So they do the culture and then they provide the intracellular report. So I usually tell patients since the time they go for blood work that to give it about 3 weeks for me to receive the results. And sometimes it's 2 weeks, but I just like to say 3 weeks because it's taken longer like that. And then once the report comes, then we go over the results together. So I like this because this is a part of the report that they provide, and the Krebs cycle is our energy production cycle, which takes place in each and every part of our cells. So basically we are a combination of trillions of cells, and our cells have this energetic cycle that happens, and it shows you, how the fats, carbohydrates, and proteins come together with the citric acid cycle, and the ATP or energy is produced. So here it shows the micronutrients, all the micronutrients that help in this stage, and the red dots are the things that she is functionally deficient in, and the yellow ones are the ones that she is borderline deficient in. So imagine why she may be having lower energy, because she just doesn't have all the micronutrients that are needed to produce energy. Similarly, this is the methylation cycle that also happens in our cells that helps us how we detoxify, manages our gene regulation. All these biochemical things happen in our body and help us, keep our health. Basically, if our detoxification pathways are compromised, that means we have the ability to gather these toxins and unable to eliminate them. And that's why we have a lot of our symptoms. So to be healthy, we want to make sure that our cells are healthy, because at the end of the day, we are nothing but a bunch of cells. So after that, like in her case, since she has the deficiencies for these 5 things, functionally, they provide a report. So this is vitamin C. They tell her how it works, what are the deficiency symptoms, what are the food sources, and how to correct this deficiency. Similarly, for vitamin D3, calcium, CoQ10, and copper. So this is an example of a micronutrient test result that the patient gets. So it's actually quite self-explanatory by itself. It's very detailed. And during the consultation, I just help them, guide them more as to like what they need to take, what they can get from their food sources, etc. So we come back to my thyroid balance formula here. Actually, I've kind of listed some of the thyroid supplements that I use in my practice. So of course, the thyroid balance, there's this one that I use called Thytropin PMG by Standard Process. I love this company. It's actually almost a 100-year-old company. See, they say whole food supplements since 1929. So not quite yet 100, but almost there. And they have a great line of products. And I've successfully used this to reduce the thyroid antibodies as well. And people who are kind of starting up with Hashimoto's and probably don't need prescription yet, in those cases I've successfully used it. I mentioned these in my book as well, so I just wanted to mention them here. Glutathione, which is our master antioxidant. So huge role it plays, even especially during this time with the pandemic that's going on. Our body produces glutathione, and it's really used by our lungs as well, to help the healing of the lung. So I recommend glutathione, NAC. Again, talk with your doctor to see what you need. But one of the tests that would help find out would be the micronutrient test. And this is some iron supplements that I use. I've also seen a lot of women who are hypothyroid can also have low iron levels. And that's why I always order a serum ferritin test when they have their complete thyroid panel done. I know last week we focused basically on the thyroid panel itself, but usually when I see a new patient, I do offer comprehensive blood work because I want to see the whole picture. So ferritin, Floridex is a botanical plant-based iron, which works really well. And there are many different ones, but these are some I may have mentioned in my book. So we finished talking about the botanical medicine and the nutrients that help the thyroid. Now we come to the next important topic, which is the choice of prescription medications. So, I definitely try to avoid using prescription till I can, but I don't want the patient to be deficient, right? That's the reason why I do hormone replacement therapy, because if your body doesn't have enough of something, it's going to affect the whole thing, meaning, you'll have low energy, you will not be able to lose weight, the lipid levels will stay there, you'll be prone to congestive heart, cardiac disease, etc. So my aim is to prevent all of that and want to make sure that your thyroid does work appropriately. So if I try to do everything to help your thyroid work better, working with you, and if that still doesn't work, then I do suggest a thyroid medication to you. The first choice for my patients is Armour Thyroid. So there are different types of thyroid medicines. There's porcine derived, which is actually coming from the gland of the animal. The advantage is that it's a natural source and the gland itself has the thyroid in its natural form. So you may have heard about Synthroid or levothyroxine if you are on hypothyroidism, which is it comes within the first 5 highly prescribed medications in the US. That's basically your T4 molecule, the synthetic molecule. But I know we went into this last week where the T4 has to convert to T3 for your cells to utilize and produce energy. So if we give your body the T4 molecule, and if your body is not converting it into T3, then you're really not getting much benefit. And these patients then keep going to their doctor and their dose of Synthroid keeps getting increased, but they may still not have the symptom relief. So in that case, another thing that can be done is the addition of T3. T3 is, the brand is Cytomel. It's also called liothyronine. So it's a very potent medication. So usually the starting dose could be like 5 micrograms of it, but adding the T3 with the T4 will definitely help if one wants to continue being on the Synthroid. A lot of my patients, want to try the natural prescriptions. So I often try the Armour Thyroid, and it works great for, more than 90% of my patients, including me. I used to be on Naturopathic, which is also porcine derived, but it was on back order for the last couple of years. So I've been on Armour Thyroid, which works really well. And it really works well for most of my patients as well. Another way to balance thyroid is compounded T4 and T3. So that way, the compounding pharmacies can make the T4 and T3 at the dose that would be right for you. So that would prevent one from taking 2 different medications and just take one. So these are just the different medications as needed I prescribe to my patients. And of course, this is something that you would talk to your doctor about. But this is the order of preference that I like, you know. And in the porcine derived, I've been in favor of Armour Thyroid just because of the results I see in my patients and their lab results and how they are feeling. So, and to me, like listening to my patients is as important, you know. So if the labs show something, but if they are not feeling good, I always give both of that equal, you know, importance in a way. Because I just don't want to treat the labs, I want to treat the person. Okay, so with that said, on the lighter note, right? Thyroid healing foods. I just love this slide, you know, which lists all the foods. Again, this is available as a picture or a table in my book as well. So why are these foods good for your thyroid? How do they help heal your thyroid? Because they are rich in all these nutrients and the vitamins, minerals, antioxidants that I talked to you about earlier. So you're getting it in a natural form. So I'm a believer of, you know, eating as many plant-based food or whole foods in your diet. And these foods work incredibly well for your thyroid. So this is a great list. So based on this list, there are some recipes or pictures that I'm going to share with you as well. And, you know, if you go on my social media from time to time, we share recipes over there. And you can access it there as well. So this was posted this week, the cauliflower nachos. It got a lot of attention. And I also want to bring your attention to cauliflower because cauliflower is a cruciferous vegetable, similar to Brussels sprouts or cabbage or broccoli or kale. And there is you know, evidence that too much of cruciferous vegetables can act as a goitrogen, which means it affects the thyroid negatively. Now, that doesn't mean that if you have, you know, cauliflower like 3 times a week, it's going to affect you. But if you have cauliflower all day long for all your meals, that would give you too much of a goitrogenic effect. So enjoy these vegetables. You know, there is so much that our nature offers us. So these are kale chips. You can make and snack on them. They're really delicious, gives you that little crunch and crispiness. So rather than, you know, another bag of chips or any other processed foods, you know, eat foods in its natural form. This is an example of a breakfast thing. This is chia pudding. So you can actually soak chia seeds in a beverage of your choice. I often use coconut milk and soak it overnight. I've also added some flax seeds in here. And then you put it in the refrigerator overnight, and in the morning, the chia seeds would have all swollen up nicely. And you can add fruit of your choice. Bananas, I've added some bananas here, some blueberries. You could add some cashews. And you'll see all these foods that I'm talking about. A lot of them are on the thyroid healing list. So I'm just giving you examples of what you can add in your day-to-day foods that can help your thyroid work better. This is a garbanzo salad. It was really delicious. One of my friends had made it, and I liked it so much, but it gives you the plant-based protein from garbanzo beans. It's topped with pomegranates, which are also a thyroid healing food. Cilantro is also a thyroid healing food. It's great for detoxification. There are some shredded carrots in here. I added, you know, some lemon juice and salt to this as well. You can add some other spices and herbs. And again, for recipes, I was not able to share all the recipes here, so I just got the pictures, but you can go back to the social media for recipes. And this is a sprouted mung bean salad. So mung beans or mung beans are a great source of a plant-based protein. And you can sprout them. it also helps the digestion that way. And great source of fiber, helps your microbiome, helps your gut health. And here I have added some cucumbers, tomatoes, pomegranates, and a cilantro chutney, actually. That's the cilantro sauce that I make with some garlic and lemon, and it's just delicious. These are great meal options, like for lunch or dinner. So these are my boys. This is from last year, actually, when we had made a visit to the True Gardens in Mesa. So I own one of these tower gardens since last 2 years, where I, grow my own greens, especially in the winter. The spinach, arugula, lettuce, they all grow really well on it. And that way you can have your own organic produce, and make your own salads. So just wanted to share that. And I mean, for me, it's worked out great to kind of learn how to grow things, because, I've not still had the time to find time to spend in the garden to do all that, but this is all automated. It's aeroponic, it's hydroponic, and it's plugged in, so it, waters itself. So it can get easier than this. So this is something my boys love as well. Sweet potato is one of the thyroid healing foods. It's very rich in vitamin A as well. So it's zucchini and sweet potatoes, and then I make tacos with it and add the guacamole, and they love it. And some sour cream, of course. Okay. This is one of my blueberry pear salads. And well, the list can go on, but what I would recommend is that you take a picture of the thyroid healing foods, or write it down and then stick it up on your fridge, and make sure you get that, in the day or in your week. So with that, I finish my talk for this week. Again, if you would like to continue this journey with me, I've been doing a lot of teleconsulting these days, and my calendar via Calendly is also available through my website. My website is meghnathakur.com. And I invite you to join me on my Facebook group. It's called Feel Your Best Self. So come and join and interact with me over there. So with that, I thank you for listening to today's talk and all the things we went over. And today we have a small group of you wonderful ladies here. So if you have any questions for me, please go ahead and ask. Let me stop sharing my screen then, so I can see all of you. Oh, we have more people. I'm sorry. I couldn't see that other people were on it, because, it was a small thing. I see Leanne. I see Rita. I see Aaron. I see another phone number, but I don't know the name of the person. So thank you all for taking the time to join me today. I'm excited that you're here. I wasn't aware that you guys were here.
Dr. Thakur, what was the minimum of kelp that you said not to exceed so many micrograms?
Actually, yes, the iodine. So 200 micrograms.
Okay, 200.
200 micrograms.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Yes, thank you, Ellen. Great to see you, Leanne. How are you? Good. I can't hear you though. I see your lips.
I said the boys are so big now.
I know.
Good to see you.
Thank you. They are, and that was actually from last year, so they are even bigger. I think in the quarantine time they've kind of shortened up.
I have a question on your garden at True Garden.
Yes.
Where is that located? Did
So
you just start?
Yes, True Garden is located in Mesa. I believe the cross streets are University and Higley. And, if you want to own one of those tower gardens, you can go and visit the True Gardens. They have for now, I don't know how they are doing it because of the, pandemic situation, but they usually have weekend classes where you can go and learn how to, own a garden and how to grow your vegetables, and they'll educate you about the seedlings and how to, maintain it and change the seed. It's pretty fascinating. I love it, so yeah.
I have to check into it.
Yes, that's great. Yeah.
I do have another thyroid question.
Yes, please ask.
Mine is supposedly a non-functioning thyroid. And so, I've been taking the Synthroid and the lipizine for a long time. So is there a possibility that I could have function back because it's been so many years? And do you recommend having blood work done?
So I have to say that, first of all, you said Synthroid. I don't know exactly what you meant by the other one. Is it the T3 or leothyronine? Is it T4?
Leothyroid.
Okay. Okay. Perfect. So yes. So basically, by non-functioning thyroid, did you have Hashimoto's or did you have nodules, or was a part of it removed, Leanne? Or
no, I just had the radioactive iodine treatment.
Okay. So yeah, by radioactive iodine, basically your gland is completely shut off. So your thyroid doesn't make any hormones, so you are dependent on the medication. So you would have to continue the medication because, the gland is kind of ablated in your case. So your body is dependent on that thyroid hormone in your case.
Right, but could I use a more natural, even though it is dependent?
Absolutely. Yeah, you can definitely, be treated with natural thyroid medication, for sure. And yes, you can have blood work done, and we can, see where your levels are based on your current dosing and talk about trying the natural one. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Then I'll
You're
sign up.
welcome. Sure.
Leanne?
Yes.
May I insert something? If you are really interested in gardening, you might enjoy the Maricopa County Master Gardener class.
Oh, okay.
And
it's an online class, something I could go online and check out?
Yes. Well, right now I just finished a class, and but they're having classes on. Because of the pandemic situation, they're having classes with Zoom. And but they're starting one in July, so it might. I don't know if it's too late to enroll or not, but they have them in the fall.
Well, thank you, Ellen. I will check it out. Thank you very much.
It's a lot of work, but very, very enjoyable.
Oh, okay.
You're
Thank
into
you.
that type of thing.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ellen, for sharing that. I would personally love to learn as well. At some point, I want to have a garden of my own and grow things and be able to spend time there. So yes, that's a great. You said the master class.
Google Maricopa County Master Gardener.
Maricopa County Master Gardener. Okay,
I can send that information to you. I tried to copy your link for the your class last week, but it took me there, but I didn't want to go there now. So if you could send an email, that would be.
I will send you an email, Ellen. Absolutely. We can, yes, exchange information there. Absolutely. Great. And I do plan to continue these talks on Saturdays. Afternoons. Typically it would be 4 p.m., but today I'm part of a conference, so it's 2 p.m. this week. So if any of your, friends, family, who would like to attend, please let them know about this. So I'll send you an email with the upcoming one. Next week, it's going to be about the gut health. So we're talking about healing your gut because that's one of the root causes. I'll also go over the testing that I do to find out the status of the gut health and what we can do and etc. So just to give you a heads up if the topic is interesting to you.
Sounds good.
Great. Anyone else have any questions? I see Gina. Gina is there too.
Please go ahead.
Okay. Well, thank you, everybody. Thank you again for being here on a Saturday and joining me. It was great to have you here, and take care. Have a wonderful Sunday and be safe.
You too. Thank you, Doctor.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
See you. Be soon.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay, bye-bye.
Thanks, Erin. Thanks for joining.
Uh-huh.